Okay, I think we're live.
Good
Hi,
morning.
everybody. Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Right at Home's Facebook Friday Live. We're doing these the first Friday of every month, and we're just covering a variety of topics that we hope are going to be helpful for older adults and their family caregivers. So, my name is Emily Ingram. I am with Right at Home, and I'm excited to have my friend Leah Greenfield here with us. Hi, Leah.
Hi, Emily. I'm coming every Friday, right? Is that what you meant? Yeah.
I, I would love it. I would love it because we know that we could talk all
We
day,
can talk.
right?
We can talk for sure.
So today we're going to be, and Leah's with LifeQuest of Arkansas. I don't think it got to that point. We're going to talk about what LifeQuest is in just a minute. But today's topic is something very near and dear to my heart. I know it is yours also. Leah and I have worked with older adults, retired adults for a very long time, and we know how important social connection is, right? And how damaging social isolation can be. So we're going to focus on that. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. And then we're going to talk about the services that Right at Home can provide to help with that. And then Leah is going to talk about the amazing LifeQuest educational program. So before we dive into the conversation, Leah, about social isolation, I wanted to just give folks a quick overview about both of our organizations. So I'll just say that Right at Home, if you're not familiar with Right at Home, we provide in-home care services for older adults and adults with disabilities. So that can be anything with our caregivers coming into your home and helping, run errands, meal prep. If you're at a point where you need help with bathing or just transportation to a doctor's appointment, we can do, anything in between. And it's also just a great way to have companionship, right? A lot of these caregivers form very close friendships with the people they're caring for. So that's just a quick rundown about Right at Home. But Leah, I really want you to just kind of give a brief overview of what LifeQuest is.
So just real quickly, because I know we've got a lot to cover. LifeQuest is a nonprofit. It's located within Second Presbyterian Church, but because of the pandemic, we have a broader reach than just Central Arkansas, because about half of our classes that we put on are online, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But our main mission is to provide lifelong learning opportunities for older adults in our community. And our community is Central Arkansas, all of Arkansas, and we have members zooming in from out of state. And those educational classes have really been the core of LifeQuest for a long time. We like to call it a small liberal arts college for retired aged adults, except there are no classes, attendance, or grades. So that's kind of the basic overview, and I'll go into more specifics.
Yeah, well, and it really is like a university. I mean, you have hundreds of people coming through these classes.
We're building back. I keep saying we are on our way up, but we haven't hit cruising altitude yet since our enrollment took a dip after the pandemic. But we are definitely growing back with more and more new members. So we are like a college. We offer classes somewhat on a quarter system. So we have a fall term, a winter term. We just started our spring term, and each of those terms are 2 months long. And then we have a smaller 1 month term in the summer. And they're all of our classes are taught by volunteers, which is something we can talk about too.
Yes.
And right now we have 470 people enrolled in classes, both in person, online, and hybrid. So we're definitely growing back. We'd like to hit a little bit over 500 would be more typical for a spring term, but we're close. So we're getting there, and we have a lot of new people right now, and so there's a lot of new energy in the classes, and that's fun to see.
Yeah, I was there yesterday. You are definitely building back. You're getting back to where you were.
Yeah.
It's really perfect timing because a yard guy's apparently starting to work on somebody's yard behind me. So I apologize if y'all can hear that.
Can't hear it. You're good. Yeah.
Okay. So you've mentioned the pandemic, and obviously when that happened, social isolation became kind of a hot topic. I mean, there was more attention on it, especially for older adults, because you couldn't get in to see them in the nursing homes. We were all too scared to go visit our mom or dad or grandmother because we didn't want to, take anything to them. So it really got a lot of attention. But truthfully, social isolation for older adults has been an issue forever, right? And there's so many reasons for that.
Yeah. I mean, I just did a quick scan of the news before this and some internet research, so not real in depth. But I mean, loneliness and isolation is a problem in the United States across the board. You hear about teenage girls, you hear about teenage boys, you hear about men specifically. I mean, there's this loneliness and isolation is something that we're all really struggling with, but it has always been there for older adults.
Right.
And I think the pandemic highlighted that and made it worse.
Right.
But for the older adults, I mean, if they have lost some of their mobility, there's some of their independence, loss of hearing can contribute to isolation. You just can't get into the flow of things the way you used to. And that can contribute. Plus, and being in a caregiver role can be very isolating, or being taken care of can be isolating. So I love what Right at Home can provide, because folks that we refer to Right at Home can take somewhat of an a la carte approach. You're not entering into rehab by coming into Right at Home. You're getting the services you need when you need them, and then once you're finished with those services, you can do something else. I mean, I like how they can kind of pick and choose. Right now, we need some transportation. Right now, we need some in-home care. But it's that being able to be more independent longer at home that I think is so important.
Right. Yeah. I mean, thanks for the little plug. I mean, you touched on so many things that we do, and it's true. I mean, but I also did, some research, and just their researchers say that loneliness raises the risk of dementia by 50%.
We read the same thing, and that's right off the CDC website. So it's exactly true. 50%. And it's always striking to me how they link isolation with heart health and stroke prevention. Like it's really bad for our bodies to be isolated, and that connection is so important.
Yeah.
And to plug LifeQuest, that's what we're all about. I mean, we provide all these classes, and absolutely, it's amazing the breadth of classes. I mean, there's really something for everybody.
I know.
And I can go over a list too. But the classes really are a vehicle to connect.
Right.
I mean, it's great to here's what I was talking about the other day with a member. We can be LifeQuest members are a lot of things, but one thing they are not is old.
Right.
The average age might be the average age of a LifeQuest member is 75, but they are not old. Do not call them old. They're not.
They're the busiest people I know.
They are the busiest
adults.
I have to get on their calendars to make an appointment, because they are active in the community. They're active and engaged, and they come to LifeQuest so they can talk about anything else besides the pandemic and doctor's appointments.
Right.
And they have to schedule their classes around, their trips to grandkids. And then as they stay with us, maybe they're not quite as active, but this is what they get up, get dressed, put on a cute outfit, and get to class on time. And having that commitment, and because they've got other people here that are expecting them. And when we don't see them, we call them. You weren't in class. Where were you? We're worried about you.
Well, and that's true. Yeah, for LifeQuest, and with Right at Home, a lot of kids, obviously, kids are with older parents, are busy with life, right? And they're doing their very best to juggle everything. But we would see at LifeQuest, or we do see people who their kids aren't able to lay eyes on them as much. And so we start to notice changes, or y'all do, and y'all will, give the children a heads up. And we're noticing that he's forgetting things or something like that. And it's the same with Right at Home. I mean, a caregiver is laying eyes on your parents, even if it's once a week, and able to just see changes when sometimes kids, if they live in another town or whatever, can't. So,
well, both of our organizations, basically, we've adopted an extended group of grandparents. I mean, for me,
for sure,
because we really do get to know them, and your caregivers really do get to know them. And I just think that's really, really critical. So at LifeQuest, we talk about, we want to keep our members physically active, mentally engaged, and socially connected.
Right.
And that those three kind of pillars are how we build our classes around. So, there's really not a class too hard here. We've got a scientist, and he's teaching a class on Zoom. It's Dr. Silva from Richmond. And it's conversations with Fred, because I mean, he will go from cellular biology to astronomy. I mean, he's talking about the cosmos and genetics and everything in between.
Yeah.
And we those are, pretty heavy classes. We have classes on classical music where they dive into music theory of Bach and Brahms. Those are challenging, and those are intellectually, stimulating. But we also want to keep you moving. So we have Tai Chi and yoga. Pickleball is the hottest ticket in town.
I want to learn how to play.
We had some angry calls that people couldn't get into pickleball. So we opened up another class of pickleball. We have line dancing, and that is so fun. You do not have to be, you could have two left feet like me and still have fun in that line dancing class. So those are really fun. And then, the other classes that a lot of people, when they retire, they want to do something new or new again, and something creative. So we have a whole section of art classes. You remember, I mean, we have some new folks teaching in watercolor, oil, sculpture, pastels, and some of those are even online. So it's like Bob Ross, Happy Little Trees, Bob Ross.
Yes, follow along.
Zooming in to take those classes, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. But it's you can come and learn something new. And back to your point about connections, I've been talking to some new members recently. This is a misconception that I had before I started here. I kind of thought you get into your 70s and you stay the same. Your life doesn't change. And what I've learned is this is a very transforming period of time for, and so we're going to face it too, you and I. People are downsizing. People are moving across country to be closer to kids and grandkids. And some of these new members are moving into a new place. They've moved into a new community because their son or daughter is here. And so now they're like, well, what do I do now? I've moved and I've downsized from the home I lived in for 40 years. Now I'm in a new community.
Right.
And I'm older. So how do I connect? How do I get to, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's harder for men too, to join something and to put themselves out there. They're kind of expected in that age range a lot of times to have it together.
Yeah. But y'all have a very good turnout of men.
We do. I mean, we have a lot of classes that appeal to them. And we have men in all of these classes that I've mentioned, line dancing included. So it is a lot of fun for both.
Well, that makes me, you talking about people having to move away, because I know people are heartbroken when they have to move away and they miss their LifeQuest. But talk about real quick the Shepherd Centers of America, because you are part of a national.
Right. And that really should have been the first thing I said. It's hard to prioritize everything. But LifeQuest is an affiliate of Shepherd Centers of America. So if you have to move away from LifeQuest, first of all, you can Zoom with our classes. And we'll show you.
Now you can Zoom.
We can show you how to do that, because we've just had a member move to Washington State. Hi, Molly, if you're watching. And she Zooms in and takes our classes. And so that does happen. And of course, around the state, people are Zooming in and keeping connected that way. It's a real silver lining. I mean, it works better than we ever thought it would. But we do have, as the heart of Shepherd Centers, and LifeQuest began as Shepherd Center of Little Rock. And we still are a part of that. And being on Zoom now, I'm in conversations with Shepherd Centers folks from all over the United States. It's really fun. They're doing a lot of the things that LifeQuest is doing. But as they keep telling me, LifeQuest is the largest Shepherd Center affiliate for our classes. That is our core service program, and our service arm for classes is how we define ourselves. And some of the other Shepherd Centers are a little bit different in their makeup, but we can help you get connected with other Shepherd Centers.
And so kind of going back to everything you just talked about. I mean, there are
Little Rock.
What'd you say?
Shepherd Center of Little Rock was before we became LifeQuest.
Right. Well, so life changes a lot in older age, right? Whether it be the loss of friends, a spouse, you become a caregiver full time or whatever, your children moving away. I mean, there's all kinds of situations that change your social network. And so I want to circle back to what you were saying about, I mean, getting involved. I mean, but just coming to LifeQuest for a day can be somebody's one day that they get out, right? But also just relationships, or not even relationships, but acquaintances when they go to the grocery store or they go to the post office. Like the tiniest little connection can make the biggest difference in someone's world. And so I just want to remind everybody about that. But also something that they can do is to volunteer, to become connected somewhere. Even if you move to another town, there's always an organization looking for volunteers, and it's a great way to plug in and build community. Yeah. So with that said, talk a little bit about how people can volunteer at LifeQuest, because it really is. There's 4 or 5 of you on staff, but it's run by volunteers, right?
So our mission is to enhance lifelong learning opportunities and meaningful volunteerism in the community. That is the LifeQuest mission. So we do that in a number of ways. In 2022, we had over 9,000 volunteer hours. And people always think, well, where do you get those volunteer hours? I mean, we put pen and paper and calculated it. It was, and I had to go back and go, is that right? That seems like that's high. It's not, because you think about all these classes that are taught, they're all taught by volunteers. So we had we have 150 classes a year, over 50 a term, taught in the main terms, taught by volunteers. And those classes are 8 weeks long. And sometimes they're bringing in other people. So that's a lot of people to just teach the classes. And then we have lunch on Wednesdays. And so we have volunteers setting up and serving the lunch. Then we have, how do we get our mail out? We have volunteers that are stuffing the mail. The other thing is we're connected with 20 supporting congregations, and we'd love to have more. So our supporting faith-based communities have volunteer opportunities within their congregation. So you may not be a member of that congregation, but if they're putting backpacks together to help kids eat during the summer month, we want our LifeQuest members to know about it and be a part of it. Or if that church has an angel tree and they would like people to help put packets together for communities in need, our LifeQuest members can be a part of that. So we're plugging people in the community. One thing that I'm really excited about is we've just created some educational partners. And so we're partnering with CALS, Central Arkansas Library System, and then Literacy Action of Central Arkansas, which is housed within a CALS building, is another educational partner. And LifeQuest is becoming this summer a training site center for people who want to become tutors. This is not tutors within the public schools. This is tutoring adults to improve literacy in our community. So some of those adults in our community might be English language learners, like Afghan families that have been resettled in Little Rock, or people who speak Spanish but are not competent in their English abilities. And so LifeQuest members can become trained to tutor other adults. So that's adult to adult, lifelong learning, and meaningful volunteerism. But having that volunteer role gets you up and out the door, gets you committed to something outside of yourself, which gives everyone, people, the volunteers, that sense of meaning and purpose. People count on you, people need you, and that connects you. And that's what we're really, that we feel like LifeQuest members will benefit that just as much or more than the people that they're volunteering to serve.
I agree. And that's something everybody can do. If you know how to speak English, if you know how to read, that is something we could all do. So I'm so excited to hear about those partnerships.
And the Literacy Action will connect you and train you and give you the tools and the skills. So you don't have to just find somebody on your own. It's an organized service. UAMS is another, the Arkansas Geriatric Education Collaborative. They've had so many services and can help connect caregivers with support. So by joining LifeQuest, you're kind of joining this much larger connection in our network. Network. And that's what we really want people to understand. Yes, you can come and play mahjong, and we'd love to you can come and knit. You can come and listen to John Brummett talk about news of the local news, state and national news in his class Behind the Headlines. And if that's all you want to do, or just come and take a yoga class, that would be great. But you have the network here in place to get much more involved as you want to be. But we need you. And that's what I think the message that older adults don't always hear. is that we
Yes.
need you.
You're still relevant. You're still important. You can do more than ever now, maybe, because you have the time. Some of them do. Some of them are too busy.
Some
But
are too busy. The
you
other
have,
thing we're doing is traveling. And so we've got some really fun travel. We're going to New York City for the holidays with a travel organization that we partner with. And then we've got this trip to Costa Rica, and it is going to book up. I cannot believe how many people are right now, because the world is opening back up and people are feeling safer. And so we've got a guided group that is traveling to Costa Rica, and that's going to be really fun. So we've got, kind of those are the big kind of really adventurous opportunities. And then we have, more local things to do too.
Well, I want to plug something real quick for Right at Home, because we're talking about volunteering, and volunteering is amazing. But really, I mean, you could go back to work. A lot of people even have to these days. And so I do want to mention caregiving as a job, a post-retirement job. It's, a lot of, at this age or at that age, they've been a caregiver at some point, probably to their children or their spouse or someone. And so they're already experts, right? And so, to be able to work for a place like Right at Home as a caregiver, not only is it income, it's very flexible hours. You can work a few hours a week.
Part-time. So
it can be part-time, it can be full-time, but it can be very part-time. I mean, I'm talking a few hours a week.
Okay.
But you're also, like with LifeQuest, you're becoming part of a team, right? You're joining, many other caregivers and the Right at Home office staff. We're such a close-knit family. And so we just really want to encourage some, retired adults, if they want to consider that. It's a fun option.
So kind of like being matched as a tutor, does Right at Home provide some of the training, and they help you kind of connect with someone that's a good fit?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we provide the training for sure. As soon as they come on board, they're trained by us, and then they learn from others. Yes, we have an RN on staff who helps with the training, and we're just always doing fun things and connecting with each other. So I can just see it being a great fit for someone who's looking for maybe a little extra income, but probably more than anything, the fulfillment, like you're talking about, of helping somebody and, plugging into a community. So I just wanted to put that out there. But one more thing I wanted to talk about, Leah, before we kind of wrap up, is transportation, because transportation, or the lack of transportation, can be such a hindrance for older adults, right? When they can no longer drive.
I think in Little Rock, that is our weakest area.
Right.
And Little Rock has some amazing things, like our parks, our trails, our libraries are just fabulous. But we do not have transportation, particularly for older adults, and to medical appointments or to LifeQuest. LifeQuest doesn't offer that. That is something that it did in the past, and it doesn't now.
Yeah.
And it's really a gap. It's a gap that has not really been filled. So
I agree.
What is right?
I think that, I think Rock Metro, like our metro system, I think they're working on it, right? They're trying to make improvements.
I'm hearing that,
But especially out in kind of West Little Rock in this area, it is hard to find it. So yes, I mean, we Right at Home, I think that's one of the things that people think. You also have to sign up, and that means you have to receive care 24/7. You're signing some contracts. Well, no, we can just give you a ride if you just want to ride. I mean, we have 4 vehicles that we own. One of them is handicap accessible. So we can give you a ride to and from LifeQuest, to get groceries, whatever, doctor's appointments, whatever you need. So I wanted to talk about that. But I remember at LifeQuest, carpooling with friends. I saw a couple of people take Uber to LifeQuest. I've seen that.
Yeah, we really need to have a workshop on how to put the Uber app on your phone and how to use it and feel good about it, and we haven't done that yet. But, one thing I read recently, and I think this was in a Shepherd Center's webinar, but so a lot of older people live alone. And if you have a colonoscopy, you have to have a driver,
right?
Or if you have a minor eye procedure, they require you to have a driver, or if you're under any kind of anesthesia. And if you live alone, or if you're new to the community because you've just moved here, or for whatever reason, you need a
Right.
driver. And so I think that's fabulous that they can refer to Ride at Home. People call LifeQuest all the time looking for medical transportation,
Yeah.
and I'm glad to know that we have Ride at Home as a resource for that.
Yeah. I mean, medical or just like I said, just to LifeQuest or wherever they need to go. So I think also what I've seen as people get older, and I'm sure, we're all like this. I think it's our culture, but we're scared to ask for help, right? And especially as we get older, we don't want to burden anyone. And so, I think people really have to just stop and think about who their network is, who's their social network. They probably have friends, they probably have neighbors who would be willing to do a ride here or there. But if they don't, and even if they do, yes, Ride at Home is available to help with that. And we want people to use our transportation service. I mean, it's just critical for getting out of the house and being social. So Ride
at Home is a sponsor of LifeQuest, and
we love it.
For transparency, I want everybody to know that, but we really are kind of picky about our sponsors. We don't want to refer our members to organization that we don't know and trust. So I can feel good about referring people to the folks that sponsor us. And we appreciate those gifts, because as a nonprofit, that's how we stay successful. So thank you very much, Ride at Home, for that support and endorsement.
Well, you're welcome, because you know that we truly believe in your program and we want more people to know about it.
Yeah.
And we want to help them get there. So, well, we are
a beautiful partnership.
It is. And I get to volunteer and be there. I love it. So we're almost out of time. So I just want to give you the chance to say any last thing you want to say about LifeQuest. Tell people where you are as far as the spring term and then when the summer term starts.
Okay, so we just finished our first week of the spring term. So if you're interested and you're like, oh man, I missed it. No, you didn't. You missed 1 week. You can come. There's 7 more weeks of the spring term. We go until May 25th. And then in June, we'll be registering for our summer term, which starts July 10th. And it's just 4 weeks. We offer kind of some different classes in the summer, a little bit more lighthearted and fun, a little quirky in the summer, but some of our regular classes as well. So you can play mahjong for fun. You can still take yoga. You can still take book clubs and some of the other things that you want. But that registration will begin right at the first week of June. So if you're not on our mailing list, call the LifeQuest office, 225-6073. That's 501. And give us a call and we'll get on our mailing list, or look us up on our website and let us know that you'd like a brochure. We send out 4 mailings a year. So you're not going to get on a mailing list and not ever be able to get off. And those mailing lists are our course catalog. So you'll be able to see what's coming up. And then the fall term begins in mid-September.
And your website is lifequestofarkansas.org.
Mm-hmm. There's another LifeQuest somewhere in Illinois. So just be sure that when you Google LifeQuest, that the logo says LifeQuest of Arkansas.
Include Arkansas. And Ride at Home is going to be teaching a class this summer.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
Well, we're just going to talk about, I think we've called it, there's no place like home, right? I mean, we know the majority of us want to age at home at least as long as we can. So we're going to talk about different areas of, what you kind of have to prepare for and what you need to be able to do that successfully and safely and happily. So we're excited to do that.
That's right up our alley. That's helping people stay active and engaged for as long as they possibly can. So great.
Well, okay, Leah, I could talk to you all day, but I know we've got to wrap up. So I want to thank you for being here and sharing about this amazing program. We're so lucky to have it in Little Rock and Arkansas, and now the world, because everybody
now the world. Oh, we did have a couple of classes from Germany and Alaska and Scotland.
It's amazing.
Isn't that fun? That's what Zoom
can
do for you. Thanks, Emily, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, and I just to circle back on what you just said about kind of, the social isolation part. I mean, what COVID did is really open a lot of us to the possibilities of reaching, just across the world through technology. And technology is wonderful, and it's awesome that y'all offer both, but there's nothing like being in person. I mean, we know that's true for any age. It's especially true for older adults who just need that human contact
Yeah.
And so if you have your parents or an older loved one or friend that you need to check on, just call them. Just call them and say, can I stop by, take them to get coffee? It
We're
would make
located at Second
their
Presbyterian
day.
Church. Sorry to
Yes.
interrupt. We're located at Second Presbyterian Church in Little Rock. That's on Pleasant Valley, 600 Pleasant Valley Drive. We're very appreciative of our partnership with Second Presbyterian Church. They really view LifeQuest, which is not a Presbyterian organization, but they view LifeQuest as an extension of their ministries to their community and to their own older members. So we welcome you to LifeQuest. We fill up the building in the middle part of the week, and we can, anybody who's interested in just checking us out, they do need, if we're in person, we still require proof of vaccination to attend in-person classes. That is our host institution's request. So you do need to show proof of vaccination, but that's just one time. And then you don't have to every single time you register. But we'll give you a day pass and a name tag and let you audit classes or just look around. Before you join something, you might want to check us out. We would welcome you to do that.
Yes. Okay. Well, perfect. And if you want to know more about Right at Home, visit rightathome.net/Little Rock. And thank you all again. We'll be here on May 5th. We're going to be talking about caregivers, the profession of caregiving. So if you're interested in maybe learning more about that, please join us. Leah, have a good weekend. Thank you again.
Happy Easter. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.